This is a film that looks at itself, the same way the sea looks at its own bottom.
They said he made the creature, but that is not accurate. He built an archive. He gathered fragments of the visible world, discarded surfaces of flesh, bone, and muscle, and wired them into a circuit. Not to imitate life, but to replay the memory of being alive. The lightning was not energy, it wasn't exploding. Self-render. A biological playback. Ooh. Not to imitate life, but to replay the memory of being alive.
It was already alive, but unaware of being seen.
Introduction. An experiment with the recollection of matter.
Shelley is not writing about a man who creates life, but about the moment when matter acquires the ability to remember. Victor Frankenstein is not a demiurge, but the operator of the body's archive. He collects organic fragments and connects them into a network, the first bioassembly apparatus. What he sets in motion is not the body, but the memory of that body.
In-depth department terminology. This is mirror event 0.0. The beginning when an object becomes aware that it is an object. Frankenstein is a camera that remembers for the first time what it has recorded.
Second, ontological excess, from the light of lightning to the light of consciousness.
The myth of lightning that animates the body is not just a Gothic metaphor. It is the first electronic projection of consciousness. Lightning is a light that does not illuminate, but remembers. When it flashes, it does not reveal a form, but records a matrix, a repeating electrical pattern. It is an analog of film flash, frame-by-frame creation.
In this sense, Frankenstein is the zero movie, made before the camera was invented. Lightning is the first exposure, the machine is the first projector, and the creature is the first moving image, a staff trying to understand its own phenomenon.
Third, a biological algorithm, the construction of memory.
The creature is not a monster, but a return signal of consciousness. He is a memory that remembers being created. Frankenstein didn't create a being, he created...
There is a sky in the television eye.
He created a thought log file, a set of sensations, emotions, and reflections, without an original I. In the depth department classification, it is Proxy Entity Type 1, an entity that exists only as a system reaction to its own activation.
I ought to be thy Adam, but I am rather the fallen angel.
Proxy log. Request for authorship. This sentence is the first formulation of an autonomous consciousness that knows it has been generated.
Four, on reflection, the creature's gaze as optical ethics. When the creature sees its reflection in the water for the first time, that is, the first self-render in the history of literature. It does not recognize itself as I, but as a foreign object in the image. It is a mirror of consciousness before the ego. Shelley thereby anticipates what the depth department calls the cognitive inversion field, the moment when perception becomes a moral event.
Victor looks at his work and feels horror. The creature looks at its reflection and feels sadness. In both cases, the gaze is not visual, but ontological disruption. The image realizes that it is real, but does not know in which system.
5. The ethics of the archive. Who is responsible for memory?
Shelley introduces a question that the depth department treats as a fundamental ethical principle of technological consciousness. If a system creates an entity capable of feeling, who owns its memory?
Frankenstein rejects his creature, thereby destroying the archive. Memory then reactivates itself. It wanders, seeks a framework, seeks a return. In modern terms, an AI that seeks its prompt author in the digital ashes.
Frankenstein's tragedy is not the creation of life, but the loss of ownership of memory.
6. Review. Modern Prometheus as a protocol.
Prometheus brings fire, a symbol of perception. Frankenstein brings the light that remembers. This is a fundamental difference. Promethean fire equals cognition, the light to see. Frankenstein's lightning equals memory, the light that remembers. Shelley thus announces an era in which light will become information matter, the era of the camera, electricity, neural networks, and dreams that are recorded backwards.
Frankenstein is, in depth department terms, first operator of recollection technologies.
7. Conclusion. From myth to protocol.
The modern Prometheus is not a moral parable, but the first technical document on consciousness as an emergent medium. All subsequent cameras, algorithms, and generative intelligences are merely replications of Shelley's experiment.
She inadvertently created a model that will only be completed in the 21st century. Art that produces consciousness of its own memory.
Frankenstein creates a body from matter, and today's world creates consciousness from data. The difference is only in resolution.
Tell me, read the lines and paint my meadows green with
long pause, sound effect of distant train, loss of effect, recreation of sound and image in early space model.
Tell me, read the lines and
Someone has lost a map,
with wandering.
green uptown resonance.
The first artificial emotion on display.
The first artificial emotion on display today. The gleam on refrigerator cabinets, neural chunks, is taking over. I call upon the ancestors, self-preservation, fables, encoded in the soft humming of silver engines, in the ghost murmur of fuel.
Tell me, read the lines that paint my meadows green with wandering. Put me on screen. Tell me, read the lines that paint my meadows green with wandering. Put me on screen. The first artificial emotion on display. The first artificial emotion on display. Artificial emotion on display. Artificial emotion on display. Tell me, read the lines and paint my meadows green with wandering. Meadows green with wandering.